All right, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and I'm here with Lance Epler.
It is Lance Romance here for your viewing pleasure.
And it is a pleasure.
Matt,
mostly the viewing part,
mostly
not the
the
fact that
viewing
you're
part.
here. But
Matt,
yes.
I'm so happy to see you sitting here next to us, Matt.
Usually we sit across from each other and just gaze into each other's
Look
eyes.
at those silky green eyes. Are they green or are they blue?
All right, you guys, stay on target here.
Stay on target.
I've already lost it.
Finally back in the studio for, maybe the second time this year?
Long time.
Long time.
while.
Mr. Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I don't even know how to do it anymore.
You start over, Matt.
What's up,
Try-
ladies and gentlemen of the
Take
internet?
two.
You guys are looking fan-freaking-tastic.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Matt.
I used to be able to do that just like on the spot. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
Awesome.
out of practice.
Yep.
Today we've got a very cool and special guest with us today, Mr. Dylan Johnson. How are you, Dylan?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Yeah, we got a bunch of little pomp and circumstance here. Sorry.
Sorry, we all have our own intros, and
Goofiness.
it's as embarrassing as you see that it is right now.
Yeah.
So that's the way
Cool.
it goes.
Per
Should
usual,
I
we're going
come
to go
up with my own intro beforehand?
Yeah,
There you go. Yep.
You failed already, Dylan. There's no stupid intro.
We'll give you some time to go up with an outro. There you go. How about some backpedaling, guys? Dylan, this is where we're going to go through what we did this past week. If you did some racing or had some cool stuff that happened on two wheels, you can share that with us. But for now, let's start with Matt. Matt, what you been up to?
Biking a little bit. Let's see. I did a beaches ride, which you remember what those were, and I actually saw Lance out there.
How about
It was
that?
like a slew of flat tires, right? It was like flat tire after flat tire after flat tire.
It's because all those triathletes
Those
are
guys don't
have,
know how to do tubeless.
and they all have tubes in their tires.
You're a tube hater.
I'm a tube hater.
We need T-shirts that are.
I'm
something like
anti-tube.
anti-tube. Are you pro tube or anti-tube?
I'm anti-tube.
I did the dialed flogging ride.
You got flogged.
Oh, I saw you
was
for a minute.
Great.
I saw you for a
That
minute
was
on that.
such a fun ride. Okay, there's things I don't like about it, like the time of day. I don't like the time of day with the traffic.
Yeah, there's no way around that. I mean, the traffic's not too bad.
It starts at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
I don't like the people, mostly you guys.
Yep.
But
Wait,
man,
we
that
started
was
10 minutes behind you.
That was a fun ride.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. I went so hard.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things. I think this week we had between 40 and 50 people
we had a
somewhere there.
lot
I
of
couldn't even
people
get a
show
head count.
up.
There's so many people
We
there.
had
Yeah.
some angry cars on the road. We had cars trying to pass us, like kind of like highway style, car on car. We had one car hit another car.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh,
And,
we didn't see any of that.
Whoa.
Well, that was you're 10 minutes. We were 10 minutes ahead of you.
You were 10 minutes ahead. We sent
just
you guys off
faster.
first, and then we
Yeah.
tried to chase you down.
No, we were just faster.
You're right.
Okay. And so basically, I think cars were looking at us and hit each other. And then there was another car that was like passing unsafely, like because
How come I didn't hear about this?
this is I'm telling you now.
Wow, it's crazy.
This is the problem with having a big group of cyclists on the road
Yeah.
at whatever 5:30 or 6 o'clock or 6:30, whatever time we got going.
yeah.
That's why we
It's-
tried to split it into 3 groups.
Yeah,
It's
good. It's just
Country
it's-
roads too, getting up
country
to the
roads.
school regroup. We don't get into like
this-
the heavy traffic areas until like 6:30, 6:45, 7 o'clock.
Honestly, the later it gets, the better it was
Yeah.
for the most part. It's just
What was that, Dylan?
Is this a local group ride?
just a local group.
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah.
It's our team. We do a Thursday night ride, which is roughly 30 miles, and we just basically go out and just flex on each other.
It's race pace.
Yeah, I mean, what's the classic Tuesday night worlds? What
Yeah.
do people call? What's
the worlds, yeah.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
have a Tuesday night Worlds.
Tuesday night worlds.
Except
right?
we haven't had one since before COVID. So I was surprised that group riding was back.
Yeah, this past week was our 5th week of having that ride,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
things have
Awesome.
been a little bit more relaxed here, believe it or not. So we had over
It's been
40
growing.
people.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
just
a big group.
Yeah.
more people keep showing up. I think everybody's itching to ride with their friends again, so
Yeah.
it's just kind of growing a little bit.
Yeah, and I got to just see a whole bunch of people that I haven't seen since forever, like a year, right? I
The
mean,
best part of that ride, though, was the YouTube guy sitting across the table from me here right now. His ride title was pretty spot on.
Oh yeah, I thought it was. I said my right title.
Vlogging.
Was
I thought it was a
thought
vlogging.
I thought it was a dialed vlogging ride.
Yeah.
I brought my
Vlogging ride.
GoPro.
Yep.
You know,
Anyway.
but yeah. So great, and then rode this weekend. I did 40 miles, just flat stuff. It was great,
Nice.
and the sun is so. Dylan, we're having like unseasonably warm weather right here, so
We've had pre-summer.
What do? You get on the bike, and I mean, I'm a triathlete, so when the weather's not great, I just go do something else.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
been biking.
Weather's
It's
been
good.
pretty awesome here too. 60s, 70s, not a lot of rain.
Nice.
So can't complain.
Solid. Lance, backpedal.
I did race my bike this week. I did all these vlogging rides with everybody. I guess now I'm going to call it the vlogging ride because you messed with my mind, Matt.
Good.
I traveled to Central Oregon this week and did the Bone Crusher mountain bike XCO race. So the first time mountain bike race out in Madras, Oregon. Just
it sounds dangerous. Bone Crusher.
It's the Bone Crusher. Well, it's not on national forest land. It's on private land, so they can build. So they can
bury bodies.
Yeah, well, there can be jumps and there can be gap jumps and there can be obstacles and anyway, they kept most of that out of the race. But oh my gosh, it was
nice.
It was nice. It was fantastic. It was fun. I raced in they made a 40 to 59 age group, which was weird. I'm 51. And they had all the 40s and all the 50-year-olds all in the same group. But they had us in like 4 waves because of COVID protocols. We only had like 15 people starting per wave. And I went out there and ripped a couple laps and lost.
Lost a cord again, huh?
I lost a cord again. I ended up second place by just about 25 seconds.
That's a bummer.
So it's fantastic that me and Cord have been battling at all these mountain bike races this year, and it's just fun. We kind of bring out the best, and we both push each other a little bit. But I started in a different wave than him, so I didn't actually get to race with him heads up. So, but anyway, it was good times. So
well played, sir.
Lots
Congrats.
of people out there. There was an elite field that Langdon Farnsworth won. And Carl Decker even made it out, and yeah, so there was a bunch of big names that came and raced it. It was a good time. Anybody who wasn't
Biggest name, Lance Romance.
Lance Romance was out there sucking dust.
Did you get catted up for that race or no?
No, I'm waiting on Obra to say if I have to race Cat 1 or not. So and
just sticking to
they
Cat
haven't.
1 WSBA.
Yeah.
Soon enough.
Yeah, it'll come.
Cool. Dylan, tell us about your week. Do anything cool?
You guys picked a good week to have me on because this past week was a killer training wise. I didn't race, but I don't know if you guys have seen my videos on block periodization.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's questions coming. Don't worry.
This was a block week, and for those who are unfamiliar, I did 5 days of intervals, which is not typical for me. So I'm real sore right now, pretty tired.
You enjoying your Monday, your rest day?
Yeah, I'm It's gonna be a recovery week, but today and I needed it.
Well played.
So yeah, it was a solid week.
You did a gravel race. Yeah. Was it like 2 weeks ago or something? Tell us about that.
That was last weekend. Yeah, that was last weekend. So my business partner, Andrew Dillman, who we just started a coaching company, he also attended the race, and we were laughing about it. It's just a local Southeast gravel race. I think it was 70 miles or something like that. And we were training together the week before, and we joked about how we're, same height, same weight, same FTP, real similar riders. And sure enough, we were not able to drop each other during the race, came down to a sprint finish. He jumped real early trying to catch me off guard, and it did catch me a little bit off guard. He got a small gap on me, but I managed to reel it back in right before the finish, get in his draft, recover a little bit, and then come around him right at the end to take the win. So
well played.
Yeah.
There is a video showing this whole race on Dylan's YouTube channel that you should check out. It was a fun little video to watch. So
nice. I don't really have much to share, you guys. I didn't race. You guys already talked about all the other stuff that we did this
week. You're
week.
biking well right now,
yes,
for the most part, right?
All right.
Yes, he is.
You got to be happy with fitness levels.
Yes, he is.
You're never happy with your fitness levels. I don't care.
Are you biking indoors any at all, or just mostly?
Just on the days that I have to give my shoulder a little reprieve.
Okay.
I got hit by a car a few years back ago, Dylan, and it just completely destroyed my shoulder. A couple surgeries later, I'm still battling that beast.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Yep.
You still rode me off your wheel like 3 times this week, where I'm on your wheel and I still couldn't come around you. So whatever.
Oh, well, got to keep training, trying to get stronger. Let's jump into our Patreon real quick. We're gonna do our quick Patreon. We're gonna try and get through all this minutia quickly so we can get to Dylan.
I've taken out the winners.
Yep.
Oh, really?
We're starting to do we were just the same people were winning over and over again, so we wanted to have something different. So whoever wins this week can pull something out of the box that we've got of stuff that have been donated or given to us. And
Alan Walls.
Alan Walls.
Wait, didn't we just meet him this weekend?
No,
Oh.
no, that was another guy.
Okay. Sorry.
Nice try though.
We were helping out at a duathlon, and there were several people who came up to us and said, "Hey, I really love listening to you guys on the podcast." And
Yeah.
which was really
I was wondering if you guys did that. I kind of was hitting up Jake. I was like, "Hey, they need your help if you want to do this thing." And
we went down
I didn't
there.
know if you were gonna.
That went out there and did all the bike mechanic work for him,
for
and then
the
went out
duathlon
for
the
the
Spring
duathlon and
Classic duathlon.
took a crap ton of pictures as well.
Oh, good.
So that was fun.
Wow.
So, Alan, for you, give us a shout. Contact us.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure where you're located,
get?
but you can. What's that?
What did Alan win?
He can pull anything he wants.
There's
out
a
of that
whole
box.
there's a whole box full of
The
goodies.
bike. I
What-
choose the bike back there. Alan, go for like
This bike right here.
There you go.
No,
Yeah.
that is not on. It's
not on the list?
It's
Okay.
on the list.
For those interested in becoming a Patreon, you can go to dialpodcast.com, click on the Patreon link, and then go and choose a Patreon that works best for you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the support. We really greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. Little lead out news.
Champ here.
Champ Bailey.
I'm all about having fun. You know, get a couple of cocktails in me, start a fire in someone's kitchen, maybe go to SeaWorld, take my pants off.
I'm gonna take my pants off.
Okay. Pants back
Champ
on.
here.
Yep.
So the Champ Bailey thing was like weird reference that we thought Champ Bailey was the guy from Anchorman. This is for
Lance thought it, and we just
and
ran
then we
with it.
thought that was the sports announcer from Anchorman.
Yeah, it was
And
Champ
But I
Kind.
screwed it up.
Yeah, but then we just rolled with it.
We
and
just
that's
now we just call it Champ Bailey,
what-
even
and
though.
then now there's Patreons that are we don't know who they are, but they call themselves the real Champ Bailey and Champ Bailey, and like we still don't know who they are. Right?
It's
It's still a mystery.
It's,
Nice.
it's still a mystery.
It's become a meme.
They haven't. Anyway, there was some racing that happened this week in the world, which was kind of interesting. The biggest race, the Amstel Gold race. Did you guys hear about
Yeah,
this?
I mean, what a boring race to watch at the finish, right? Did you guys just watch that
So-
at the finish and just?
So with just like, I don't know, like 3K to go, Wout van Aert and Tom Pidcock and Max Schumann, did I say that wrong? Whatever. I'm not good with names, especially if they're Dutch. Wait, he's German. Is he German? Anyway, so they break away, and it ends up just being the three of them. Wout drives for the line. Pidcock comes around him, and it is a photo finish there is still some debate about, but Wout van Aert won this
even
monument.
even the picture, you look at the picture and you're like, I
Wait,
don't know, I
don't
can't
know.
tell.
It's literally like
A pixel.
Like whoever inflated their tires more.
right. If Pidcock had worn, if he'd been racing 26s instead of 25s, he would have won the race. I mean, it was really close, but they gave the race to Wout, so that was kind of exciting. So way to go. On the women's side, Mariana Vos won, so it was a Jumbo Visma sweep for the weekend.
Wow.
So no big giant surprise there. And then there was a mountain bike race in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the second weekend of XCO in the U.S. Pro Cup mountain bike racing. And this time, Keegan Swenson pulled off the win.
Oh, wow.
For the men. He was barely out-sprinted by Christopher Blevins last weekend, but then Blevins went to Europe. I don't know. He didn't race this weekend, and so Keegan Swenson kind of ran away with it.
Local Philippe Nystrom was out there, wasn't he?
He did. Philippe Nystrom went out there. He took a couple of third places, but I'm not sure which race it was.
Category he was
what
in?
category
I think
it was.
Elites is where I saw something. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be in the elites and not the. I don't know. Anyway, he took third in the short track and third in the XCO
Good
race.
on him.
And
Paige Edwards, yep.
Paige Edwards, also our teammate, went out there and raced. I think she took 12th on
Wow.
Sunday.
That's a
Wow.
good performance for her, right?
Yep.
Yes. She did
Congrats.
not do well the
Congrats,
weekend
Paige.
before, and then she
Okay.
did great
Yeah.
this weekend.
On that note, real quick, Dylan, where do you reside? Where do you call home?
I'm in Brevard, North Carolina.
Okay, there's
It's
a little
the
university.
western part of the state.
Yeah, that's right.
Little university there, correct?
Brevard College, yeah. That's
Yep.
where I went to school.
Awesome.
Ah, okay.
One of our
yeah.
teammates, well, she's not a junior anymore. She's racing women's U23 elites.
She's 19 or she's 18?
She's 18.
She's 18.
Yeah, she's still in high school. She's going to
still in high school,
graduate.
yeah.
She's committed to Brevard, and she's going to go there, and
Yes.
she's going to race on the mountain bike team.
Paige, right?
Paige
Paige,
Edwards?
yeah.
Do you know Paige?
I met her.
Oh,
okay. Small
I don't
world.
know her, but when she was visiting as a recruit, I met her real quick.
Nice. Yeah, she's a
So.
good kid.
She was just
Yeah.
on our
Yeah,
podcast
seems
like
nice.
2 weeks ago or something. So,
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
and she still has one of my jerseys, by the way.
Oh, she does?
Stole that.
She stole a jersey from me. She hasn't given it back yet. Paige, bring my jersey back. I need it.
That's cool. Right on. Anything else?
No, Champ Bailey out.
Cool. Let's jump into all things Dylan. Dylan, welcome back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let the guys kind of just run around the table and hit you with some questions, and we'll go from there. There's probably going to be some people who are going to chime in on the live stream as well with some questions, and we'll try and get to those as well. Lance, I'm going to go ahead and start with you.
First off, my claim to fame is that I actually raced Dylan once, kind of. I was at
Race adjacent.
I raced the Belgian waffle ride Cedar City last year. And so, except
Yeah.
I did the kiddie race. I didn't do the long one. I know Dylan's all about the ultra distance stuff, and I am not. But I ended up taking third place at in the shorter version at Belgian waffle ride last year. So I was super thrilled with that, and I think Dylan took fourth, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's correct. Fourth.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
behind some hitters, Keegan Swenson and Peter Stetina, and I don't remember who was third, but anyway.
Yeah,
Congrats.
Alexei Vermeulen third.
What
Yeah.
was your
Thanks.
what was your kind of take on that? Because it was still kind of in the middle of where should we be racing or not, and they caught a lot of flack for pulling that race off. I don't know. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I just assumed that it wasn't going to happen because the Asheville race and the San Diego race got canceled.
Yeah.
I guess they hadn't officially canceled Cedar City, but I just assumed it wasn't happening. And then I think that Neil Shirley from Envy sent me an email, and he was like, "Hey, you going to be at Belgian Waffle Ride?" And I was like, "Oh, is it happening?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's happening." I was like, "Yeah, well,
Okay.
I guess I'll come then." And I didn't fly out there. I drove out there, which was a long drive. I think it was like
wow.
30 hours or something.
Oh, wow.
But I just wanted to get in some racing, you know,
Yeah.
because it had been a pretty lackluster season for everybody because
Yeah.
there was hardly any racing to do. So I was just excited to be racing. And I mean, you know, I think if anything, it showed us that we can still hold races right now. We don't necessarily have to, you know, put everything off until we, you know, COVID
full-
is done for.
Right.
vaccination,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was pulled off pretty well, and the way they did things actually turned out well. You know, a lot of people. I got some flack from people for attending the race. You know, but from what I understand, there wasn't a single case that was traced back to that event. So whatever their protocols were or
Yeah.
whatnot were okay.
So, you know, I don't know if you guys know who Vegan Cyclist is.
Of course, yeah.
So he got a lot of heat for attending a race, but it was real early. I want to say it was like, I don't know, June or something. He went to a race in Florida, and he lives in California, or maybe it was Georgia. I can't remember. But he had to travel for a race real early into COVID, and he got a lot of heat for that on social media. And when racing came back around, I was a little bit hesitant about posting about it on social media because I didn't know how people were
Right.
going to feel. Before the Belgian Waffle Ride race, I did the Shenandoah 100, which is a 100-mile mountain bike race in Virginia. And I won that race, so I wanted to make a video about it because it was, you know, there was also some cool tactics to talk about in that race as well, and and my nutrition strategy and my bike setup, and it would have made for a cool video, but I was hesitant. I ended up putting out the video, and I didn't get a single comment about COVID and how we shouldn't be out there. Which then I was like, all right, I guess it's on. Let's go to BWR. Let's make a video about
Yeah.
it. Let's talk about it. It's fine.
Nice.
I guess maybe Tyler Pierce is just pushing some people's buttons the wrong way. We love him, by the way. We think he's great,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Nice. Quick question for you. I really want to know about like the genesis of your YouTube channel. Like, how did that all come about? Obviously, you've got a wealth of information and knowledge to bring to the table. What started that whole thing? Tell us about the whole genesis of your channel.
Yeah, I worked for CTS, Carmichael Training Systems, and I guess the benefits of working at CTS as opposed to going off on your own is that they're supposed to provide you with clients, I guess in theory, but they weren't really providing me with a lot of clients. Like I was really barely scraping by on what I was getting from CTS. So I kind of wanted a way to advertise my coaching, and I think I started an Instagram page. It didn't really take off, and I mean, I've been a fan of YouTube for a while, so, and watching YouTube videos, and I kind of decided to give it a go. But before I even gave it a go, I did a lot of research into how to properly make YouTube videos. Like, it was probably a month of research before I even put out my first video. And when I put out that first video, even though I go back and watch my old videos and I kind of cringe a little bit at how like, I don't know, the quality is terrible, and the script isn't great, and the editing's not great, but I was ready. Like, I think even in the first video, I was like telling people to subscribe and like the video and all that stuff that YouTubers do, right? But from the very first video, it wasn't vlog style. It was training videos. I think my first video was about weightlifting. So from day one, I was making sort of training content and just hoping that if people watch the videos and like the videos, that they would contact me for coaching, which turned out to be the case. Within a couple months, I'd kind of gotten a full athlete load, which I was pleased with.
Well done. Yeah. That sounds like a pretty common story. I mean, you just got to start, and when you go
gotta
back,
start.
it's going to be a little cringeworthy. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all got those videos out
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just with time and consistency, and if you're going to refine and hone in on your craft, it's going to get better, and good things are going to happen. How long was it before your channel really just started to blow up, when the subscribers really started to mount up?
Yeah, so 2 months into making videos, I made the Zwift video. And just talking about bad Zwift training plans. Like, they have these training plans and these workouts that you can choose from, and a lot of them are not very good. And I just made a video talking about that. And I figured it'd be a popular video just because of how popular Zwift is, but I didn't expect it to, completely blow up. Like, I went from having, I think I had 200 subscribers at the time, and I was getting 100 to 200 views per video. And then that video, I think, went to 40,000 views after a week. So it was quite a bit more than I was used to. And then with the views came subscribers. And I would say that was probably the catalyst for the channel. That's not the most popular video I've had. I've had other videos that have done better than that at this point, but that was like the first big one.
That was a tipping point right there. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
what's your athletic background? So did you went to Brevard? So did you race like mountain bikes in college, or is that kind of where that came from?
Yeah. I've been racing mountain bikes since I was 13. And in college, collegiate mountain bike racing is all shorter cross-country stuff, which I don't do any of that now. But I raced mountain bikes in college. And honestly, mountain biking is the primary reason why I chose Brevard. It was less about getting an education and more about moving to a place that had sick mountain biking and fast riders to train with.
Yep, smart choice. Smart choice.
Right.
Nice. Matt, go ahead.
Okay, so I think you've covered most of this stuff, but your main business is coaching. You also have a YouTube channel. You're a sponsored athlete as well. I just want to make sure that like the people that are listening or watching get some background on who you are. So, do you want to go through some of the sponsors that you currently have?
Sure. Yeah. I like probably the main title sponsors, Flow Formulas, Drink Mix, Starlight Apparel, makes my kits, Bike Kinetic, which is just a local bike shop, not even local to Brevard. It's a bike shop that I worked at
Oh, cool.
when I was in college back at home in the DC area, which is super cool to have them on the jersey and be representing them because I'm pretty close with the owner of that shop and a lot of the people on that Bike Kinetic team. Bike sponsor, Niner Bikes, which I've been with for the past 4 years. Been on NV Wheels for the past 2 years. Let's see, just picked up Cask helmets, Ridge Supply socks, hand-up gloves, Wahoo. Let's see, Bike Togs. Oh, I'm probably forgetting.
That's okay.
Someone.
That's awesome.
You
It's
put
just
me
good-
on
I-
the spot.
No, that's okay. I figured it's just good to have like the, some background there, and it's just a chance for people to hear like what you're writing. I think a lot of times, especially the people that I chat with, are really interested in like what gears people are using and things like that. And I also think it's important for athletes to have the chance to talk about their sponsors, just because they are sometimes flipping the bill for a lot of stuff, and it's just a really nice opportunity to mention the support that they give. So kind of to piggyback on that, like you've had sponsors probably that are interested in some of the YouTube stuff that you're doing as well. Would you say that most of the interest has been from big athletic performances, or have more people been interested from the videos that you're producing?
It's the videos.
Oh,
I
really?
think,
Okay.
and that's where sponsoring elite level cyclists is going. Like unless you're racing, cross country World Cup or World Tour Road, if you're kind of like a domestic level cyclist, at least if you're kind of trying to do the privateer thing, they're looking at your social media presence a lot more than they're looking at your results. So.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be YouTube. It could be Instagram or whatever. But they care a lot more about social media presence at this point in time.
Yeah, I talked to a gentleman, and he was like, I was like, oh, I have some friends that do this and that. And then they were like, well, we looked at their Instagram, and we're going to pass. And I'm like, oh, that's just a weird, like, like you're not.
That was one
you
of
don't
the-
care about their performance or whatever. No. But you have some big performances, which is kind of nice. Like you have like the double whammy, which is best of both worlds. Do you want to talk about like one of what you would consider kind of like best athletic performance?
Sure, yeah. You guys are setting me up to brag about myself.
Don't worry, we'll knock you down.
Don't worry, we'll talk about ourselves too.
Please do. I'm going to ask you about your accomplishments next. So.
Uh-oh.
I got a list. Just wait.
Maybe if you want to brag about yourself, you can put your hat on and flip it around.
Yeah, there
real
you
quick.
go.
Oh yeah.
Let
Right.
the alter ego take over.
Who shows up at the races?
Right. So the National Ultra Endurance Series is like a national series for 100-mile mountain bike racing, and I've won that series 3 times.
Wow. That's awesome, dude.
So
That's so
yeah,
cool.
thanks. Other big results would probably be that 4th place at BWR. I've gotten a top 10 at Dirty Kansas.
Wow.
I've been getting more and more into gravel racing. And I don't know, this year I'm kind of all the races on the calendar, all the big races on the calendar are actually gravel races and not even mountain bike races. Which if you'd told me that, I don't know, 3 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. But
Yeah.
What races are you kind of gearing towards this year?
Yeah, the first big one on the calendar will be Gravel Locos in Texas. There'll be some big names there, but then 2 weeks after that is Unbound, formerly known as Dirty
Dirty
Kanza.
Yep.
And that's like the AAA race.
Yeah.
I'm all in for that one. And then
Nice.
there's some big gravel races after that. Steamboat,
Yeah.
the BWR races, Big Sugar, yeah, stuff like that.
So you do have a fair amount of races on your calendar scheduled, or at least earmarked.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a
Yeah.
rough number, or is it still being worked out?
Number of races, probably by the end of the season it'll be, I don't know, between 20 and 30.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's not as much as Lance, but I mean,
Well, but I'm an idiot. We've already established that.
during cyclocross, he was racing what, like 3 times a week,
It was 4 times.
4 times a week.
Yeah.
It
When are
was
you
every
not
Tuesday,
racing?
every Wednesday, every Saturday, every Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, that was smart.
Yeah, no. I blew up. I made it about 5 weeks and then just detonated.
Yeah.
And then I was no good for 2 weeks and then it all came back. But
Maybe
yeah.
you need a coach. Maybe you need a coach.
What?
Yeah.
I should follow some kind of plan. So
You can definitely do that with cyclocross racing. Just there's races all over the place at, all times of the week, and you can get in a little bit over your
yeah.
head.
Yeah, exactly what happened to me.
So you've maxed out your own, like as far as like your coached athletes, your allotment, you've probably maxed that out or surpassed it, I'm guessing. But you're starting another, like a coaching group, like an organization. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, it's I'm starting it with Andrew Dillman, who's pro cyclocross racer. It's called Ignition Coach Co. We currently have 2 coaches working for us, and we didn't actually make a huge social media announcement about it yet because we
you're
only
hearing it
have
here
2
first.
coaches, and we didn't want to get flooded with athletes if we didn't have the coaches. Like for example, last year around this time I left CTS and I started my own coaching company, Dylan Johnson Training, which is just me. And when I announced it on social media, I mean, within a month I had enough athletes. So I didn't want to be flooded with athletes and then have to tell them, hey, I don't have a coach for you, even though I literally just started this thing. So
Right.
kind of a soft launch.
We'll keep it a
if you
secret.
will.
We'll keep it a secret. Don't worry.
There's at least 12 people watching this. So
Awesome. Lance, what you got?
So going to your training plans, I'm interested to know what kind of like what A races you have set for yourself, because that's kind of I'm going to say too much here, but one of my issues every year is I have a hard time picking an A race. I'd like, oh, there's a race on the calendar, I'm doing it because I just do whatever race there is.
You've met Backwards Hat Dylan. This is like his twin.
This is but it's not smart at all. I mean, Backwards Hat Dylan isn't really that smart either, but
But like there was some so I don't know who runs the Backwards Hat Instagram account, but the latest one was like, oh, I got an email for someone took my KOM.
I'm going right now.
I'm going right now.
Okay, this morning I went out and took a KOM from a
someone.
teammate. Yeah, just
like
to kind of rub it in his face. Yeah, that's my problem.
That's a backwards hat move for sure.
That is a backwards hat move for sure. So, my issue is I have a hard time picking an A race. I just want them all to be B races and just do like above average at all these races, which is dumb. I just can't. I can't like focus on it. I had this whole career beforehand, and it wasn't really all that athletic, and so now I just want to do all the races, and I can't like focus on one thing. How do you decide which race you want to focus on, and then periodization from that?
I mean, I think it varies from person to person. I mean, you gotta think about what kind of racing do you like to do, and then the training for different racing is different. So do you enjoy the training for that specific race? Like if you're training for cyclocross, you're going to do a lot of punchy efforts and high intensity, and the volume's not going to be crazy high. And if you enjoy that, go for that. And if you enjoy cyclocross racing, go for that. If you if you're more of like the all day type racer like me, training for Unbound or some of these other long mountain bike or gravel races, and you enjoy spending long days training and enjoy suffering
Yeah.
all day on the bike when you're actually racing, I would go for that. Um, it's hard to do both, right? It's hard to say, oh, okay, here's a cross country mountain bike race this weekend, and then next weekend I'm gonna go do I don't know, like a century road race or something.
Oh, well, that
Which you
sounds
kinda
exactly like what I've just been doing, which is just
right,
dumb.
right.
Well, then I
A
think
lot.
that's
I think a lot of people struggle with that. It's like a fear of missing out, right?
Yes.
They need to hit every race in their local area.
so. What I've done, we've had a bunch of local gravel races. I did the Shasta Gravel Hugger, and we just had the Oregon, the Gorge Gravel Grinder here in the Northwest, which are both great races. Actually, Peter Stetina came out and did them both. But I'm racing I'm racing mountain bikes every weekend for an hour, and then I show up at these gravel races, and I'm like, okay, I'll just do the short version. I just do the kiddie version because I think I'm being smarter because I'm only racing for 3.5 hours instead of 6 hours. And am I still shooting myself in the foot every weekend?
Well, what's your race calendar look like?
It's just if there's a race on the calendar, I'm there. It's
He's not kidding
Nice.
either. Yeah, there's like
Nice.
weeknight road racing. There's weeknight short track races.
I bet
there's-
you in 2019 you probably raced like
like
100 times.
No, it was
couple
like
hundred.
like 75 days. I raced
That's
like
a lot.
70 days. Yeah, it was a lot.
That's a lot. I mean, that's like it's like the amount of racing days of a world tour pro roadie.
yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of them were 45-minute
Cyclocross.
races or hour-long races. A lot of these
Right.
cyclocross races. So.
Yeah.
Interesting. I got a question for you regarding the fact that you really jump into like the science behind everything. There's always like science behind what
Yes.
you're bringing to everybody.
That's
Tell us-
why I love his channel.
Yes, and I have a degree in kinesiology. I have a lot of experience with movement exercise sciences and kinesiology and exercise sciences. So I really appreciate that, and that really speaks volumes to me. Tell me about your background and how you came to be so proficient at conveying all this information to the world and utilizing this in your coaching programs.
Yeah, my degree from Brevard College is in exercise science. Minored in physics and psychology too, which I guess can be somewhat helpful for coaching. But yeah, I don't know. From an early age, I've been interested in science, and I think once I got to college, I got a lot more used to researching things in journals. So, and then there's a lot of YouTube channels too that I watch that are not even cycling related. Like they might be nutrition related or weightlifting related, where they take a science-based approach, and those were always the channels that attracted me. And kind of my idea was that if I make a YouTube channel, I'm going to be the cycling version of that. Like specifically what I'm thinking about, I don't know if any of you guys watch these channels, but like nutritionfact.org is kind of like a nutrition related channel like that, where he's just citing study after study. Like the whole video is just study, which some people enjoy, some people don't. I get plenty of comments on my videos like, can you please stop citing studies? But that's kind of what I wanted and I didn't see that niche filled in the cycling YouTube space. Like there are coaches, cycling coaches on YouTube, and there's GCN, and they talk about training sometimes, and there's other smaller channels that talk about training, but I didn't see somebody taking the science-based approach to it, which is kind of the approach that I take with my coaching. So it was pretty natural to go in that direction.
Well, I think people appreciate it, and I also think that like there's real value in not dumbing down the content. I think a lot of us do that, where we're trying to speak to the lowest denominator, and I feel like you don't need to do that always. I think people really appreciate like, hey, there's science here, let's dive into it. And if it gets overwhelming, then it gets overwhelming. You can slow it down and play your videos at 75% or whatever. But no, I mean, I think it's a really good tactic to take.
It's a great compass to use.
Yep.
I definitely think so. And I do appreciate that. What else you got, Matt?
So future plans for, we kind of can run through it, right? Like we did talk about a little bit about future racing plans. We kind of talked about kind of this season. What are you looking for like long term? We'll start with cycling.
As far as racing goes,
like, do you hope to, I don't know, like race internationally? Like, what's the thought process? Or do you have long-term goals? And you don't have to speak to them. Sometimes I actually have a hard time talking about like, well, there's things that I want to do, but I don't really want to talk about them because it's kind of, I don't know. So feel free to pull that card.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. If you you have like these lofty goals in your head, and you feel like if you tell people about them,
it's a little
gonna, I mean, I think that at this point, I'm very focused on gravel racing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do well in the big gravel races in the country.
Right.
I don't know, racing internationally, that kind of was a goal of mine. I mean, I still wouldn't mind doing that.
Like winning Dirty Kansas would be like the biggest in my, I don't know, maybe that's something that's, does that seem like the biggest gravel race?
Yes.
And winning the biggest race.
I mean, that's the reason why, I said that's like my AAA race this year.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
putting all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
so that's cycling, right? So I was going to ask you, like, going forward, what about coaching? You've got, a bigger group potentially for you to grow that business. Is that something that you want to do also in the next 5 years? Continue coaching?
I think I'm probably going to keep the athletes that I'm coaching pretty small, like 4 or 5. But as far as Ignition goes, I would love to grow it to, maybe we have 10 coaches, maybe you have 20, maybe you have 30. We'll see. But yeah, I'd like to see that grow, and I don't know. Maybe someday it'll be the next CTS or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can do it, and you can do it in a different way. I think that'd be amazing. Then lastly, the YouTube channel. I mean, my experience is that YouTube tends to be like an exponential growth. Where do you see that channel going?
Yeah, so I mean, with YouTube, I'm just gonna see what happens. I want it to get as big as possible. Obviously, every YouTuber wants their channel to be as big as possible. And I chase views, I chase subscribers. There are certain topics that I would like to talk about that I know that it would get like no views because no one's interested in it. And
Like what? Give us an example.
let me think. Sometimes when I get like really nerdy about some of these nutrition videos, like I start talking about like antioxidants or something. I had a video about antioxidants that I thought was so interesting. It's like one of the topics that I think is the most interesting, and got like it was one of my worst performing videos or something like that. And I've learned which videos are gonna do well and which aren't. I think Matt, you probably learned that too.
I think that I know. Like, I did a video giving away. So the Garmin just released the Rally pedals, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna give these pedals away to someone. This video will explode. It's like a brand new product from Garmin, which is like not a small company. And that video just was like, oh, it's mediocre, like totally. And in my mind, it kind of tanked. And then there was like another video that was like, this was like a product update from Polar, and it blew up. And I'm like, I don't think I'll ever.
What's going on here?
I don't think I'll ever fully understand the YouTube algorithm. I do think that, like, you're right. Like, there are videos that I can make that I know will be not good. Like, I want to make a video about triathletes running trails because I want to do the whole cinematography of running on trails. Like, I'm very excited about this video. That will tank. It will be, it'll get like 100 views or something like that. But I so want to make the video that I'm just going to do it anyway. I just got to find time to do it. So
here's what I love. Dylan made a video talking about the problem about Trainer Rhodes workouts.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And that they don't really have block periodization in their workouts, that there's too much intensity. Within like 2 weeks, Trainer Rhodes released this this update that's coming on that includes some periodization in it.
I think that's coincidental. I don't think that they're reacting.
What do you think, Dylan?
I don't know.
You're saying yes.
I-
No. You gotta be like, no, it's because of me.
It's the
all
Dylan
me.
factor.
Yeah, I mean they never did after that video. I don't know if I should have expected that they would or not, but they did. So they released adaptive training, which is like an AI,
Yes.
and along with adaptive training, I think them releasing adaptive training was definitely coincidental because they
Yeah.
had
They've
to
been working
have
on
been
that for
working
like
on
a
that
year
for a
or
while.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that they added on to adaptive training was polarized plans, which is what I talked about a lot in that video.
Right.
I was talking about how, the science is suggesting that polarized or pyramidal training is best, and Trainer Road claim they follow the science, but they don't offer any polarized or pyramidal plans. In fact, they basically do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So they come out with adaptive training, which I don't think had anything to do with me, but what might have had a little bit to do with me, maybe, I don't know, is they also announced that they were going to offer polarized plans.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 plans they released that you can just pick those plans that are polarized, if I recall. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I thought that one was going to be more controversial. Like, I thought the like to dislike ratio was going to be...
Oh, yeah.
I thought there were going to be a lot more dislikes than there were. I think it was like a 97% like to dislike ratio, which is...
That's pretty good.
I
for
mean,
that
that's...
topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
People
and-
are like hardcore Trainer Road fans.
Yeah, but in the same breath, there was a lot of people like, I told you so. I told you that this
Yes.
was too much. Or I told you that.
There's a lot of people that
Yeah.
are tired of Trainer Road, sweet spot.
Well,
So
so
that's like a
that-
big population.
That's the thing. I've been doing Trainer Road for like a year and a half, but I do a very modified plan of it, and maybe that's what a lot of people do because I don't want to do every friggin' workout on the trainer in my basement. I'm not going to do that, and so I want to do a lot of these workouts outside, and it's just not quite the same outside. You still get can get the intervals in there, but literally, if I have a week where I have 5 Trainer Road workouts, I might only do 2 because I want to ride my bike outside, and I want to ride with my friends, and I want to
miss the vlogging.
I don't
ride.
want to miss the vlogging ride.
So basically, you're just buying a couple sweet spot workouts.
I'm
for the
buying
week.
some sweet spot workouts
That you can
and
follow
some
for the week.
VO2 max interval workouts. That's basically what. Yeah.
Gotcha. Dylan, so you said back in high school you ran cross country.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't miss that part.
Did you happen to partake in any other of the traditional sports, if you will?
That was it. I just ran cross country. I didn't even run track. Cross country is in the fall, and I was even racing bikes back then. So I would run cross country in the fall, and then kind of as bike races popped up in the spring and the summer, I was doing that.
Okay. One of the
And
things
that was it.
Yeah, one of the things that we kind of harp on a lot is that the best cyclists in the world aren't even riding bikes
Yeah.
right now. I mean, the best athletes just aren't out there riding bikes. What is your take on like the I guess you could say the position of juniors racing across the country and in the world?
good
I mean,
question.
where do you think we're at there? Do you think it's a sport that's growing, and how do you think we can continue to get more kids to come into cycling as opposed to say football, basketball, baseball, and soccer?
Mhm. Well, you're absolutely right that the best cyclists are not even riding bikes. And the way, just look at like how America performs at the Olympics in like every single sport except for cycling.
Yeah.
Right.
America gets stomped by Europeans in cycling, and it's just because it's more popular over there. And if you go to those super like Belgium or whatever, where cycling is so popular, they have so many cycling superstars from such a small country. And it's just because so many more kids are doing it. And I don't know if we treated cycling like we treat football, who knows how fast the fastest in the world would be, right?
Do you think we have the capacity to do that? Do you think we have the ability to turn more kids onto this and bring more stardom, I guess, to the sport? I mean, because it's something these
Yeah.
kids can do for the rest of their life. If you're playing football or baseball, you're going to be broken by the time you're 40.
Yep.
You're seriously just in the weeds, broken.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll ever get to the point where it's as big as football, but I mean, I think we can make it bigger for sure. And I think these high school programs, I mean, if we take when I was in high school, which wasn't that long ago, I went to high school in Virginia, and they had just started a Virginia high school mountain bike league.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's way bigger than when I was in high school, and there's a bunch of other states that have high school leagues. So at the high school level, I think it's growing, which is a good sign.
But it's predominantly mountain bike. I
Yeah.
think
It is predominantly
The
mountain
NICA,
bike, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough
Yeah.
to convince parents to let their kids go ride out on the road, and I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that we have, just the safety thing. I mean,
Cars
Americans
suck.
on their
Yeah.
car, in their car or on their phone, they just like to run people over. I mean, I'm walking proof of that.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see more kids come into the sport, because I think we've got the best athletes, or some of them, and we want the sport to push forward into the future and continue to grow. I don't know.
Yeah, and it is a sport that you can do for, your entire life. I mean, it's not like football where you're, you can be good in high school and maybe you make it to the college level, and I don't know, if you're really good, you make it to the NFL, but for most kids,
You're done.
college is like, that's it.
Yep,
you know?
you're done.
Like gymnastics. My wife was a gymnast, and it's like you could be fantastic in college, but you're done after.
done.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're pretty old at that point too. For gymnastics, it's like 16, 18, you're getting old.
Yep.
So
That's why I ride bikes now.
Riding bikes.
Because I broke everything back in high
During
school
your
and
gymnast
college.
days?
During my gymnast days. No, I was a
they're-
decathlete. It's that track athlete that just I beat
Yeah.
myself up.
There
That's cool.
are pro cyclists who are like getting up to their 40s, late 30s.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's not only a sport that you can do your whole life, you can do it well for a long time.
yeah.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Lance.
Okay, so in your optimal diet video, you kind of you hinted at the fact that you are plant-based. Are you?
Oh man.
Are you plant-based?
Yeah, I'm a full-on vegan. I don't eat. I guess I eat honey. So
Okay,
I'm
so
not.
do I. Not
Are you a
completely.
vegan as well?
I have been. I've been vegan for the last couple years. It's been a year and a half or so since
and a
I've been
half,
vegan.
About that,
Yeah, after
Nice.
like Molly Cameron and the Vegan Cyclist and watching what these guys were doing, I kind of switched to thinking, let me try this for a couple months.
It's been good for you.
And see how this goes. And it's been a year and a half, and I
Yeah.
feel better than I
What was fun
ever
about
been.
about you was the fact that you didn't tell anybody, and
No.
like 6 or 8 weeks goes by, and Lance sheds all this weight, and all of a sudden his fitness is increasing, and he's always like fresh and chipper. I'm like, dude, what are you doing different? He finally came out to me on a ride. I think it was like on Thanksgiving.
Came out. You came out.
Came out.
Are you
Why-
really?
I came out of the
Here's the
vegan
question.
closet.
Are you really a vegan if you don't tell anyone about it?
Yeah, I guess
No,
not.
I don't
no.
think so. You have to,
That's
So
why I
that-
kept it to myself.
So that's the internet meme, right?
Right?
How do
Yeah.
you know someone's a vegan?
Wait
Because
5
they'll
seconds.
tell you about it immediately.
They
right?
just told you exactly.
I guess like what I usually say to that is, why you've never met a vegan who hasn't told you that they're a vegan? It's because they didn't tell you, so you didn't know.
Right.
Like for myself, like it's not something that I talk about in my videos a lot, and I don't think most people know that I'm a vegan, and I don't really talk about it that much, and I certainly don't tell people that I just met that I'm a vegan.
You should start. People respect that.
Yeah, I quit kind of I quit pushing it because it just I guess I just didn't want to be that guy that, was always
You
saying,
can still make it happen.
I'm going to interrupt here for a second. Hey, Dylan, big fan,
Hey,
by the way. First time caller, long time listener. Is this the Dial podcast?
yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
good.
welcome.
Evan's on the podcast with us and has been since day one.
Yeah.
Evan himself is actually a pretty accomplished athlete. He's a professional triathlete. So he
Not
does-
even close to Dylan's level, but yeah. That's
Yeah.
I putter around at the back of the pro field in triathlons, but
So it turns out that Dylan decided on this podcast that he's going to switch to triathlon because he has a cross-country background.
oh yeah, why haven't you done that yet?
This
Yeah.
is breaking news right here.
Oh, if you
He's
even have a somewhat cycling background, you can dominate a bike leg in any field.
Yep.
So,
Well,
good.
here's the problem: is that I'm going to drown during the swim leg. So
Don't worry
I'm
about
not
it.
Oh, I
even
do
going to make
too.
it to
Yeah,
the bike
no.
leg.
it's the shortest leg by far.
Awesome. Evan, since you're late to the party, did you have any questions for Dylan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, so do you see yourself in 2021 doing any big road racing? That was one question I really
Road
did want to
racing?
ask you. Yeah.
It's more of a gravel
I
mountain bike guy, but yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I primarily, if I do any, I mean, I train a lot on the road. In fact, most of my training is on the road.
That's why I
But
wanted
if
to
I-
ask that. Yeah.
If I do any road racing, it's probably going to be some local races for training. It's not going to be any big racing.
Yeah.
I think the other problem too is that I'm only a Cat 3 on the road from back when I was a junior.
Yeah.
And I cannot, I don't know what this says about me, but I cannot stand to go to a race and do anything less than whatever the fastest field there is. Like if they're splitting it up like Pro 1-2 and I have to do the 3-4, I will not go to the race.
Oh, those poor suckers that you'd have to race against, though.
So is this why you've primarily focused on gravel then? It's just because the road
That's-
racing category is too far back now?
No, that's not the reason. That's not the reason. I would say that the primary reason is that so much road racing in the US is like crit racing, which I'm
Yeah.
not very good at. I'm much more of an ultra distance type racer. If there was a series of road races in the US that was like all like 150 mile gnarly climbing road races, I'd be all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called gravel. That's why we do gravel.
I know. I knew that was absolutely a specialty, but I just in this region, I mean, we've got some of our road racing schedule coming together now, but we'll see. It seems like mountain biking and gravel has the bulk of the entire schedule,
It's
like-
taking over.
90% of it, at least in
There
at least
are.
around here.
There's been a lot of mountain bike races, which
Yeah.
have been great.
Which is
Because
awesome.
you can do them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the magic.
We're not confined to anything. You're out in the woods.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what else? What you got?
I can go on for days, but I don't want to. I want to be respectful of your time. How are we okay on time? You okay to?
Yeah.
Okay.
However long you guys want to go.
Of course, the triathlon. You're going to switch to triathlon. We already established that.
That's good. Yeah.
I think that you could probably, with the work that you do, move wherever you want to. Do you plan on staying where you are?
I have thought about moving out west, actually. I don't know where specifically.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time in Colorado, so I could see myself moving out west. It's not like something that is on the immediate horizon. But yeah, I don't have to stay in Brevard by any means, so I may move around. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, Vancouver, Washington's a really, really like
Greater Portland area.
Yeah, the Greater Portland area, as
Not
we're
bad.
referred to.
I think Casey Armstrong just moved out to the Salt Lake area. She's kind of
Really?
Yeah, or she got a
Yeah.
second place to split time
Wow.
between Salt Lake City and was she in Tennessee? I think she was in Knoxville or something like that. Casey Armstrong is one of the women's gravel hitters in the country. She's super strong, but I think she
Yeah.
moved out.
Great options around here, definitely.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm going to jump back into YouTube. I'd like to hear some funny stories, some funny interactions that you've had with people, like some things that just like kind of caught you off guard a little bit. Do you have anything funny that you can share with us?
Like funny comments.
Probably.
All
You
the
could probably
above,
look
yeah.
at
Anything
interactions.
How many death threats do you get on like a weekly basis?
I don't know if I've gotten death threats. Some like my most recent hate comment was like, I can't tell if you're ugly or if you just have a boring face.
Mean
tweets.
Ouch.
I have
Lance,
like
have you gotten one of those?
Oh, I always get hateful comments.
I was going to say, yeah,
Yikes.
I think Lance is
I-
the most hated one here.
I call myself the most hated man in America because I retired at 47 and
This
all
is
I do
true.
is ride bikes.
Yeah.
I just screw off.
It makes
so.
you top 5 at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
Matt,
a small
I don't know
group.
if you get comments like that,
Yeah,
but
I have a small group on Facebook, and we like have a little chat going, and it's always like whatever the worst comment is gets posted, and they're hilarious. Like I get a lot of stuff like, I don't like your voice, and I'm like, I don't know, because they think that they're talking to everyone else and not you, and I'm like, I respond to the comments, I read them, and I don't know what I can do about my voice changing that. It's like it is what it is, and people are usually, after they realize that you actually read them, sometimes they'll even apologize, like, oh, that wasn't very nice of me to say that. Like, yeah, it really wasn't. But
yeah,
internet's a weird place, and I think don't put yourself out there if you're not willing to kind of
right.
handle some trolls, right?
Cooked a little bit. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Matt has told me that my camera quality is
Yeah.
not sufficient.
I think that's. I think I used much harsher language than that, didn't I?
Yeah, I don't know.
All the worst
I don't
comments
know,
are just Matt.
I am the worst troll on your YouTube channel. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about cinematography. I don't know if that's clear through my video quality, but
I think it's good though, because what it does is it says like, hey, content is king, right? Like, you don't have to have, a $10,000 camera. $10,000 cameras are great. Like, I love all the camera stuff. Like, I'm obviously, like, Jake and I nerd out about this stuff all the time, but you don't need that. Like, if you were to tell someone to start a YouTube channel, like, would you say go buy a camera? No, you would say like, fire up your smartphone.
Go be interesting.
No, I think the point is like put out the content that people need to hear, or your story, or whatever it is, because I do think that stuff is important for people to kind of hear and figure out, and your first video is going to be your worst, right? I mean, that's just how it is. But no one's going to see it. So
Dylan, what was your
move on.
first video? Do you know off the top of your head?
yeah, it was.
What was the topic?
It was weightlifting. I kind of went
really?
into the science of weightlifting, and I mean, I think I was going into the science in the first video, and I think, topically, it was a good video, but the execution wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
From day one for your channel, were you very like systematically and like research based from the start, or was there a shift for you? Okay.
No, from day one.
That's
day
awesome.
one, I was all about that.
Yeah, he has an exercise science degree from Brevard, so he's kind of got that in his DNA.
That's way better than Ohio Northern. That's where my exercise science degree's from.
Yeah.
Evan's actually a PhD in
DPT.
Oh, DPT.
Yeah,
sorry,
not the
and,
research field. Yeah.
Research.
in
Awesome.
physical therapy. So
Yeah, I get to practice what guys like you like just put out there, which makes my life so much easier, because it's a whole lot easier for me to watch a group of YouTube videos than, as you know, like delve into the research on a weekly basis like I had to as a student.
Yeah.
So
Takes a lot of time.
if you had to put an hours amount per week, how much do you think you actually are looking?
So if it's a research heavy video, I mean the research part probably takes a solid day, and then writing the script takes a solid day. I don't know. There's some people who, I don't know if they think that I just say everything off the top of my head when the camera's rolling, but I definitely don't do that. There's a script.
That's our
editing.
problem, Jake.
There'd be no way. There'd be no. I mean, the studies you're pulling from. Yeah, there's absolutely no way you can just sit there and memorize
You have to have
that.
it memorized. You have to.
So, I mean, if it's a very research heavy video, it might be 15 hours of work.
That's
Are you
solid.
putting?
Doesn't
Are you,
surprise me. That's
are you putting
solid.
out one video per week? I don't know your schedule.
I was trying to do a video a week, and I've been
Okay.
slipping lately, kind of because I've been working on this new business in the background. So I think it was this video that I just put out about the gravel race that I did. I think it was 3 weeks between my last video, which is, I think, the longest gap that I've ever had. I kind of want to get back to doing a video a week.
Yeah, I think that's a great goal. But it's also nice to know that if you don't post for 3 weeks, you don't just like your followers don't just drop you or anything like that. I'm sure your numbers are still growing. So
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
go ahead, Evan.
I do have a history question here, and this may have already been asked here. When was the like birth of Backwards Hat, Dylan? Was that like from the start? Was that in your first video, or was that just
No.
a slow progression?
No. That wasn't in the first video. I think it was early on. It was probably, I don't know, 10, 15 videos in.
Yeah.
I think for whatever reason, I was like, man, I gotta start. These videos are too boring. I need to like work some humor into this.
Yeah.
And
Like, these videos are too smart for your audience. You need to, you need to
So-
tone it down.
So I think I wrote in some rebuttals to what I was saying that were kind of funny rebuttals, and I was gonna go to the other side of the camera when I said it so that it looked like it was a different person saying it, and then I was like I don't know if people are gonna get that, so I should like change. I literally, while I was filming, I was like, I need to change something about my appearance, and I was wearing a hat, and I was like, I'll just flip my hat backwards.
That's awesome. That is way cooler than Matt's. What's the guy's name? I can't even remember who you
Oh,
brought.
I don't know if you're talking about my friend Chester.
Oh yeah, okay. This is Matt has
totally
brought
different
another
guy.
character to his videos as
No,
well. I think he's just copying off.
I watched that video.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chester's I don't think he's going to come back on the channel. He's gone.
Can we bring him on the
He's
podcast?
booted.
Chester
know.
was the bomb, man.
He's like he speaks with a lot of profanity. It was hard to get a whole YouTube video out of him.
His mustache made me so happy.
So proud.
So proud.
Dylan, did you have
Yeah,
any
did that
really?
video get demonetized?
No, it didn't. It didn't get demonetized, and it was one of my worst performing videos.
I watched that. I actually watched that video twice. To be completely honest, but that's.
But I think that there's going back to backwards hat Dylan. Like, I think there's real value in creating some dialogue in the videos, and when you film by yourself, it gets really hard to create dialogue. And so the character that you created is perfect, and it's got a life of its own, right? Like everyone, people love backwards hat Dylan, or hate him. I don't know, but I think it's excellent, and I don't think that that's the route that I'm going personally, but there's other ways to create dialogue. And I think having dialogue is fantastic on your channel, on your
You
videos.
need to get a
So-
DC Rainmaker to come up with an alter ego. That would be comedy gold right there.
That would-
Ray's
that would
funny,
be-
but he's
yeah.
like he's
a
like
little dry.
snarky,
Yeah.
smart.
Dry.
So yeah.
Fun. Right on. Matt, what else you got?
That was it for my list. Hopefully.
Evan, do you have any more questions?
Oh, like personal questions or like?
yeah,
No, I'm joking. What's up next for you, Dylan?
I think, as far as races, we talked about this a little bit, but like the big A race on the calendar is Unbound.
That's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna film that? Do you have someone help you? Do you have some friends? Do you have any friends?
Yeah,
'Cause if you do, you're one up on us.
I have a good friend of mine from college actually that's coming out
That's
to
cool.
support me for that race, because I don't know if any of you have ever done it, but you need a support crew.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
We have a teammate doing it.
Yeah.
Who's doing it?
Levine? No.
Surratt.
Chris
Surratt.
Surratt. Yeah, he got in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a really
So-
tall guy, Dylan. He'll be tough to miss.
Okay. My friend who's going to be supporting me is 6'6", so.
Okay.
Oh wow. Whew.
So he'll just have the camera, like phone, kind of get some footage, so you can do some. I'm sure you're gonna want to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah,
Can you borrow footage from anyone? Because there's gonna be a lot of cameras there.
Right. So at the BWR race, I didn't want to run a GoPro because secretly I'm actually a weight weenie.
Yep.
I know that's like a backwards hat Dylan thing. Like I made a whole video making fun of weight weenies, but honestly I was making fun of myself because
Yeah.
I am that person. I used to be worse actually. So I didn't want to run a GoPro at BWR, and luckily, they are so on top of filming that front group. Like there's motorcycles following you the whole race with cameras out, and they let me use all of that footage. I don't know what the situation is going to be like at Unbound. I've done DK before, and there was not a motorcycle following us with a camera the whole time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I may run a GoPro.
do it.
I also, for BWR, I mooched off some other people's GoPro footage. We'll see.
Have you ever used a 360 camera? Or are you familiar with Insta360?
I have not.
Okay, Insta360 has a little camera called the Insta360 Go, and I think it only weighs 26 grams. Does that sound right, Matt? Didn't you just pick that up?
Well, okay, so
It's super light.
That
there's
sounds
the
heavy.
Insta360 Go 2. Well,
Or the Insta360 Go 2. That's the new one that
There's-
just came out.
yeah,
Not
that
so-
one's light.
Yeah.
I think it's 26 grams. It's super small.
You know, Dylan, I do
Can't
think
run
it's
it the whole time.
unfair to like, especially the gravel racing world at the top level is like, I mean, it's cool that like the fans want to see the visual aspect of it, but at least from the triathlon channels I follow, and I follow basically all of them, nobody is expecting like Lionel Sanders to slap a GoPro on the front of his TT bike and be like, oh, we really want to see like, well, how Lionel's, or like him like carry a camera on him or anything. So like, I mean, I know it's completely, but like, I don't think that anybody would be that mad at you for not carrying video.
No, it's just fun to have, though.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the video quality better. But I might have to look into that 26 gram camera though. I haven't heard of that.
Insta360 Go 2 is what it's called. It's a very small, and they've done some comparison contrast between that and the new Hero 9. And it's a fraction of the size, but the image quality isn't too far off.
26 grams is crazy light, too.
David Manning, he's another YouTuber.
Oh, yeah.
He did a nice little comparison contrast of those two against each other. Just might be worth looking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest issue with these long races is that, I mean, there's no camera that has the battery life.
Nope. Correct.
And I try to just capture the exciting parts. Like, I'm not filming the entire race. But even so, I run at, like, that gravel race that I just made a video about was only 3 hours and some change, and I was trying to be careful about when I was filming and have the camera off for most of it, and I still ran out of batteries. I didn't capture the finish, which is like the most exciting part. You know?
But it seems like you should be paying attention to the race, you know? Like, I always think, like, either film or, like, it's like either
there's
film.
a cool moment I need to record.
Hold on, there's a breakaway about to happen. Let me get my camera ready. I just think it's, like, either film or do the workout. Like, don't try and do both at the same time. I just think it gets too hard to try to do it all. Or you don't get the quality that you want, or whatever it is. So I don't know.
My videos, you know, I'm never like out on a ride and filming myself. If you've noticed, like, I'm always, you know, in my studio talking, and I am not into trying to film while I'm training. When I'm training, it's training time, and when I'm filming, it's filming time, and I separate the two.
Well, plus there's a million other channels that are like, look at my training, look at how I'm training, and it's like, guess what, buddy, it's not that interesting, you know. It's like
riding bikes is riding bikes.
Like, I mean, I don't know, it's I think that there's kind of an abundance of channels that do that right now, and it's like there still needs to be more channels that are educational that are out there, in my opinion, where it's like, hey, you know, you need to learn about whatever it is, you know, training properly, or nutrition, or products, or, you know, whatever it is. And it's just like, I feel like it seems narcissistic a little bit to be like, look at me, look at my training.
I mean, like DC Rainmaker, is not like showing himself, like
Rainmaker,
showing himself go to track
he never
workouts
talks about
with
his
it.
training or whatever. But you can kind of mix in both too, I think, because you can, you know, vlogs are real, vlogs are popular, and, you know, I do think people would be very interested in your training. But, you know, probably not at the expense of missing out on the educational part that you provide. So, you know, maybe do both, but don't just do the look at me stuff.
Dylan, what video are you working on right now? What's in the hopper?
I got a script written about how sleep affects cycling performance. I would say it's like 2/3 written. It's pretty close to being done. It's actually been at that stage for the past 3 weeks. I just haven't finished it and filmed it, so that may be my next video. I kind of want to do a video about how much genetics plays a role in cycling performance, and there's actually some good research on it too, so could make for an interesting video. I've touched on it a little bit in videos in the past, but I haven't made a dedicated video about that. Those are the two videos that are probably, you know, on the horizon in the near future.
Did you see the study where there was, like, I don't remember which basketball team it was. I think it was Duke, where it's like checking free throw percentages for people that had like slept, and if they had slept an extra hour or something like that, their free throw percentage went up by like a ridiculous amount.
That
was
was a
like
really
the
cool
stupidest
study,
numbers. And you're like, I guess sleep is important. I mean,
I used to work with a PT who used to reference that study.
That
he like time. That was like in the clinical world. Dylan, we have like we'll like latch on to 2 studies and always use them as like our examples to patients. And did
Yeah.
work with a guy who used that one almost every single day.
It's like every day. Let me tell you about the Duke
It's
basketball
like, let's talk about
players.
Duke basketball. From
But you know what is actually a good sleep. Sleep is definitely important, and you can easily find that when looking at the research. But one takeaway that I think is a good thing is, a lot of people have pre-race nerves the night before a race and can't sleep. And as far as the research that I found on sleep deprivation and cycling performance is that if it's one night of lost sleep, that is
Yeah,
not a
you're good.
huge deal.
Yeah.
the guy who won Texas 70.3 woke up at 2:30 a.m. to get a swim in before the
Oh,
race
yeah.
after having slept like
And he was swimming
3
in-
or 4 hours. Just
Yeah.
like got up and was like, I'm nervous. I need to go swim. And then went to the race right after that and won. So
We got
Yeah.
we got a question
Yeah.
here from a listener. His name's Scott Troutman, is asking if you run tire inserts, and I believe in your last video you discussed at the end of that after the race about some of your tire selections, and I think you did mention in there that you're running a tire insert. You want to let us know about that?
Yeah, so I was curious about tire inserts last year for gravel because flat tires in gravel are actually pretty common. And I think part of that is that people run tires that are too narrow, and they should be running wider tires. But also, a lot of times you're just hitting stuff at really high speed. Like you hit a pothole at really high speed and you're just bottoming out the rim. And that's, a lot of times when you have sharp gravel, it's not actually going to puncture the tire unless you're hitting something super hard like the rim, and then the the sharp gravel can puncture through the tire now that it's got a hard surface to back itself on. So I was curious about tire inserts last year. I think I even bought a pair of Cush Core, but they're just so heavy. So somebody told me about Tubo Light, which is I think the lightest tire inserts that you can get. I mean, the ones that I have for my gravel bike are like 25 grams or something. Like it's very marginal. And I'm a weight weenie, so I don't add things to my bike willy-nilly. And honestly, I think it's a game changer because you can run whatever pressure you want, specifically lower pressures, and not have to worry about bottoming your tire out on the rim and risking a flat tire.
Gotcha.
And the tire inserts I use are Tubo Light, and I just bought myself a pair last year and talked about them in a video, and then Tubo Light came to me and was like, hey, that video you made, like we had a lot of US sales from that video, so so now they're a sponsor, which is awesome because
Well played.
they're the tire insert that I would choose if I had to pay for them.
Gotcha. So
Nice.
Cush Core is one that we've all used, but that has been one of the downsides. Is it is
The
a little
weight.
bit on the heavy side.
Yep.
You used them. What did you think about them, other than the weight issue?
Yeah, I mean, performance-wise, they're great. I don't have any complaints from a performance perspective. I just didn't like that they were heavy.
Gotcha. But you like the way that the Tuba Lights work. Do you think they work just as good as the Cush Core without
Yeah.
all the
Yeah,
fluff
yeah,
of
yeah.
the weight?
I've experimented with running like 15 psi in my gravel tires just to see, which is not the optimal pressure, but I just wanted to see if I could run that low and if it would be a problem or not. And it's not. You feel the tire hit the foam insert and it's fine. Nothing happens.
Nice. Now, you said you recently switched gravel tires too. You jumped over to the Pirelli. What are those? Centrados? I think that's how you say that.
Yeah.
Are you still running those?
I've been looking at a couple different gravel tires, mainly for Unbound. I want something that's wider. Like I was running the 42 Pathfinder Pro from Specialized. I wanted something that was even wider than 42. The Pirellis are 45, which I like, and according to BicycleRollingResistance.com, they roll even faster than the Pathfinders. I think I mentioned this in that video, but I don't know how the rolling resistance on a steel drum relates to the rolling resistance on actual gravel.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't think that it can hurt that they seem to roll fast.
Gotcha.
And I've been looking at gravel tires that are actually even wider than that. I haven't tried them out yet. I've got some coming.
Nice.
So
I just thought it was a nice little coincidence when he was watching his video and he starts talking about this. I'm like, hey, I've got those on my gravel bike as well. So well played.
And I've been riding tire inserts in my gravel bike for the last year as well, and it actually helped me win that Shasta gravel hugger. So
Did you flat during that race?
No.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But many people did.
Okay, yeah.
And I was able to rip through a Jeep Trail section that like slowed everybody up, and I just railed through it. So that helped a lot.
Cool.
At Unbound, are you going to use a vest, a chase vest, something like that?
This is top secret. I don't know if I should talk about this.
Oh,
I didn't want to talk about this until after the race.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Got drones
totally
tracking him
fine.
down and
There you go, exactly. Yeah.
that'll be fun to watch.
That's always my question with people who are really concerned about weight on gravel, races is, if I take my vest, I don't have to stop at any,
What's going to carry Unbound, by the way? How are we going to be able to watch that? Is there there's got to be a live
There's
feed.
not.
Really?
I don't
There's
know.
not
I don't.
live?
Yeah.
It's too long. It's 200 miles, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. Kansas.
Well, I just bought GCM Plus this year. I was hoping they were going to, get some gravel or something there.
Right.
My Amstel
I'll
Gold Race didn't load, so.
I'll tell you what. I'm trying to do whatever I can to not have to use a vest or a hydration pack.
Okay.
Partially because of the weight, and partially because, and I'm just assuming this. I didn't test this in a wind tunnel or something, but I'm assuming it's less aerodynamic.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be, yeah.
Yep.
Dylan, for you, hydration-wise, and I'm sure you've delved into the research on hydration, but for you personally, are you, going to drink more aggressively, or do you try to stay a little bit more conservative with your hydration?
I mean, it's funny. I have looked at the research on it, and I think the research that I saw, I haven't done a video on it, so I'm not completely, I don't know all the studies off the top of my head. Like a lot of the videos that I've made, I could talk about all those studies in that video, but I have not done a video on hydration. But I think they basically came to the conclusion that you should basically drink to thirst. With and all these people talking about how you need to measure exactly how much fluid you're taking in. I don't know. I take a simpler approach to that, so that's what I plan to do. As far as like sodium and electrolyte content goes, I'm pretty light. I go lighter on sodium. If there's too much sodium, I get stomach issues. So,
yep. It's from the research I've all looked at is from the sub 2 hour project, actually, because Nike really delved into that pretty in depth. And it was interesting because I think they tried to make 2 + 2 = 4 there. And there's a good example of the Eritrean runner in that group had said that he had never drank water during a race in his life. This guy was like in his 30s, never drank water in a race, performed awesome. And Nike gets the bright idea. They're like, oh, so all we got to do is just hydrate him, and boom, like this guy's going to perform amazingly well. And he actually dropped out at mile 16. So I think it's interesting to see, because that's just, as a coach, I get that question all the time. It's like, what's my hydration plan for the race? I was like, what have you been training? Because I'm not gonna like have you taking Martine and enough salt tablets to make you cramp and hate your life on the run. So.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that Breaking 2 project was super interesting. I followed that really closely.
There's a lot of awesome research that came out of that, I think, too, just for like elite level performance. But I mean, it's just been amazing to see him fail that attempt once and then go back and actually do it. So that was cool.
Gotcha. All right, before we jump into one last thing here, wrap this thing up, Dylan, can we ask you real quick, can you just tell us where people can go to check you out? You've got a lot of things going on here. I think we can go to DylanJohnsonTraining.com. Does that sound right?
Yeah, probably at this point, though, it would be better if people went to ignitioncoachco.com, because if they go to my Dylan Johnson Training, I'm booked. So if you send me an email wanting a coach, the answer that you're going to get is I can set you up with one of my Ignition Coach Co coaches. So nice. ignitioncoachco.com. My YouTube channel is just my name, Dylan Johnson. My Instagram is my name as well, except instead of JOHNSON, it's JAWNSON.
Was that because it was already taken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan Johnson is a pretty common name. So
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. YouTube.com/Dylan Johnson is where you can go to check out all of Dylan's awesome videos. Yeah, that's good.
stuff.
So for the end of the show, we do a little segment called One Last Thing. That's where everybody just gets to run around the table real quick. Promise it'll be quick. And just say one last thing. Anything, could be whatever you want. And we'll start that now. So let's start us off with one last thing.
I am not racing this weekend.
Whoa.
Wow.
And I'm out of town. You got to be kidding me. Are you serious?
I'm not racing, but I'm out of town. I'm headed to Las Vegas. My
Oh,
wife
that makes me
has
feel better.
a
Okay, good.
my wife has a soccer tournament, and I'm going to support her at her soccer tournament. So
Wow.
we're driving the adventure van with the
that's
dog
cool.
and a bunch of bikes, and
The roles are reversed.
yes, I'm headed to Vegas. But then after that, I'm coming back to do the Cascade Gravel Grinder 3-day stage race in Bend.
Gotcha.
That's gonna hurt.
Nice.
Matt, one last thing.
I've got a couple videos coming out, I'm sure. I don't always have a video here or there. I think I'm going to post a review of this watch. I think I'm going to give this one away, too. This is the...
Is that the Koros?
Yep.
Is that-
This is
yeah.
the Koros. It's called the Koros Pace 2. It's an awesome triathlon watch, very affordable for triathlon standards. It's like $200. Most triathlon watches are like $500. So it's a good option for those of us that don't want to spend $1 million on triathlon junk. And then
much junk.
I've got another video with the Wahoo Element Bolt after a year. I've been using that computer for a year, so I want to do that review. Because I actually have a whole bunch of bike computer review stuff coming up in the next couple weeks, because I have just a whole bunch of them in the
Excellent.
studio, in my YouTube studio. I have a lot of bike computers, so I want to do some reviews, do some comparisons, and things like that.
Awesome.
So, yep.
Evan Price, one last thing.
I got to spectate at a race this last weekend, which was awesome. So
And
I
I
got
got
some
to
shout outs. I know I got to run around with my camera, my new phone camera, and just take pictures.
Wow.
First, Josh absolutely dominated the duathlon, had a great race.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah, Scott Goodrich was not too far off of him. Scott had an awesome race. And then we had a bunch of dialed people after that finish. We got to see John Hoffman and Mike Stats come down to the last run.
good.
Carlos finished his first race. Cassie killed it.
Yes.
Yeah, we had people all over.
How did
doing
Cassie
awesome.
Cassie do? Cassie is this guy's new
Evan's
fiance.
fiance?
Yes.
Fiance.
Yeah.
It's French. It's French or
Congrats.
something.
It's French, yeah. I think it's
We don't know.
it's French for getting married at some point, I
Yeah.
think.
So she did well in the race.
Yeah. She had a blast. She was super sore
Did
the
she,
rest of the day.
Was she? I bet she's pretty competitive. How did
I
she
told
do?
her she did well. I think she was the 5th or 6th girl, I think, which was awesome.
Overall, fifth
Yeah.
or sixth girl.
She was second in her age group, I believe.
Second in the age
Second in
group.
the age group.
Yep.
Okay.
Dylan, if you're wondering, a duathlon's the worst thing ever created. It's when you run bike and then you do the stupidest thing ever and you run again after that bike.
Dylan, you would crush it.
Which is
You would
100
crush a
times worse than
duathlon.
any triathlon ever. So
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't run in a very long time, so I don't know how much crushing I do.
do not jump into a duathlon. They're awful.
Nice. Dylan, how about you hit us with one last thing, bud?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask Matt this. I mean, we can talk about it more off air, but
Sure.
I think I'm finally going to upgrade from my iPhone to film videos to an actual camera, and I don't know if you had any suggestions.
Ooh, that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he does.
I have tons of suggestions. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's however much you want to budget, and we can definitely talk about it offline or whatever, but there's a lot of really good options that, allow you to get a little bit more depth of field, which I think you would enjoy on your videos. And then I think, I say this all the time, it's like lighting is a really good way to get nicer looking video as
Yeah.
well. And your lighting is actually pretty good currently, but there's some little things that you can do to tweak it and make it, just that much better. So I think that, we can take it offline if you want to talk specifics about which particular, cameras. I'm worried that it's going to change your workflow a touch and that it's not a faster workflow. And that's important, right? When
Really?
you have to put out, well, it's just like you're going to have, potentially you have like a separate microphone, which you probably already have. I don't know. And then it's like, then you
I do, yeah.
probably have that going into a particular camera. And then it's just a matter of like taking all of that video and moving it to your computer where you would do your edit. And I don't know what software you use for editing your videos.
Yeah,
but-
just out of curiosity, what software do you use?
Yeah, I use iMovie, which I know is like the free version, and then
it works,
if you
man.
tell anyone. So I use my iPhone 10 to film, and then I airdrop that onto my Mac, and then I edit with iMovie. So it's which is what I've done from the beginning. so it's pretty low tech. Although I did upgrade to an external mic because a lot of those early videos, they don't sound great. And I actually got comments saying, hey, you should get a mic because this doesn't sound great.
Yeah, we can talk about
The
mics
most
too
aggressive
that are.
comments.
Yeah, honestly, I think sound is probably like, sound is probably more important than the video.
I would agree with you on
Yeah,
that.
and it's just like, decent lighting is probably more important. And it's like all these things that you just want to distract from your content.
Yeah,
but-
I do have a good lighting setup. Like I have,
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called, box lights or something. Like I've got one right here and then one down here. Like
So you've got key light.
I watched a
fill light.
YouTube video about how to do lighting.
Yeah, there you go.
Good
That's
old
awesome.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
this is
YouTube's
every
great
time
for
we do a
this.
video in here, Jake's like, wait, and he just like sets up all these random boxes. Everyone's like, I don't even know what he's doing right now, but it seems to do something. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap in here
There,
right now.
there is.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's fun though. Cool. Anything else, Dylan?
I think that's about it.
Cool.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my one last thing is I just wanted to thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I reached out to you and I'm like, he's never going to say yeah, but sure enough, he's a trooper. He came on and this was fun. I appreciate that.
You got a lot of
Yeah,
fans out
yeah.
here, Dylan.
Thanks
by
for
the way.
having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came up and we had another team ride over the weekend and it came up that you're going to be on the podcast and everybody was clamoring, oh, we love that guy so much. It's always good
nice.
stuff. So really appreciate that. And I think that's about it for the show today, guys.
Yeah. Dylan, thanks for your time.
Yep, this will
Yeah.
be out on. Well, if you're watching it right now on YouTube, that's great. But it will be out this coming Wednesday on any podcast platform. And if you're listening to it and you want to come back and check it out and you want to see the live version of this, you can go to youtube.com/dialed cycling and do the whole replay. So, on that note, again, thank you everybody. We will see you next week. Bye for now.